Coming up in this episode of Beneath the Surface, presented by Rockwell, we discover how the thriving ecosystem of the Mediterranean is under threat and how science is forming the first barrier of defence. The One Ocean Foundation joins us to inspire the next generation of ocean champions, and we follow the Denmark SailGP team as it competes in the France Sail Grand Prix. One of the coolest things about SailGP is you get to see the best sailors racing the world's fastest boats. But as I visit the iconic cities on the SailGP circuit, I wonder what makes these places unique away from the racecourse. I've discovered people from all over the world striving for a better future, redefining social responsibility and driving technical innovation, redesigning how we think about sustainability. If you're interested in finding out what makes these places really tick, join me as we go beneath the surface. And this time we're in a place synonymous with glamour, sophistication, prestige and some of the world's most famous sailing races, St Tropez. After consecutive podiums in Plymouth and Copenhagen, Denmark's SailGP team heads into the France Sail Grand Prix in St Tropez, occupying third place in the overall season championship. Last year on the French Riviera, the team dominated on day 2 of the racing and will look to repeat that performance as we head into the 5th round of the SailGP Championship here on the Côte d'Azur. We'll recap the racing at the end of the show, and if you want to see how Red Bull's Formula 1 team kicked off the event in St Tropez, head over to sailgp.com. Now, St Tropez is well known as one of the world's most luxurious tourist hotspots, but if you're not rolling in dough, you can still go. Here's my sustainable guide to St Tropez in just 60 seconds. Now, if you're coming here from Nice, why not ditch the car? It's just over 2 hours on a ferry, and if you're staying across the bay in Saint-Maxime, you can take a green boat to reach St Tropez in just 15 minutes. If you're self-catering and you're after a healthy snack, visit some of the picturesque markets in the heart of St Tropez for locally sourced fresh fruit and veg. Café Saint-Tropez might be the most famous place to grab a drink or a snack in St Tropez, but there are sustainable options out there, including this vegan superfood cafe. Even the cups and the straws are made from biodegradable materials. No plastic here. While you're on the French Riviera, why not take advantage of this beautiful weather by exploring places beyond St Tropez, places like Port Grimaud, known as the Venice of France, only 45 minutes away by bike. Now, if you want to escape the hustle and bustle of St Tropez, there are some amazing coastal trails out by the east of town, with great views and less people. If you do come out here, don't forget your refillable water bottle, because it's usually pretty hot. St Tropez and the French Riviera is one of the most popular tourist spots in Europe, and while it's easy to see the appeal of quaint cafes, sandy beaches and crystal clear waters, those millions of visitors have the potential to unbalance a fragile ecosystem. I'm going to investigate how legislation and science are forming the first line of defence in the fight to protect the precious resources of the Côte d'Azur.
I'm Oller, I'm the Harbour director. I was born in St Tropez, and the main job is to transform the port of St Tropez with ecological dimension to think about the port of the future. The port is in the middle of the city. So we love tourism, of course, we need them, but the challenge is to welcome them and to protect the nature, to keep the boat at outside of St Tropez, because we have the harbour completely full. We put some restrictions about water, about anchorage. We are working on it. We reserved this year 10 berths for electric boats. The electric boat can charge in full power in 30 minutes. That's make part of the transformation, but we want to keep the authentication of St Tropez, but with the evolution. South of France and France in globality, this summer there was no more water. What we decided is next year is to have a desalination. So we will take the water on the sea. Of course, it will not be clean for drink it, but they will clean the boat, we will clean the road. Another project is to recycle the wastewater with 3 other filters. As Monaco of the Formula 1, we have SailGP on the sea for St Tropez. SailGP brings us the vision and the green sport and the respect of the nature. That's why SailGP was so important to come in St Tropez, because we are really on the same mind of the transformation and keeping the high level of sport. SailGP is important for us because it changed the image of St Tropez.
The ocean has always been a great barometer for the health of our planet.
And here in the Mediterranean, there's one natural resource which scientists are keeping a close eye on. You've probably never heard of Posidonia Seagrass meadows, but they're vitally important to people's wealth, animal habitats and our precious ecosystem. I'm meeting Posidonia expert Charlie to find out why this plant is so important to the health of our ocean around the planet. So this is the perfect place to go and see some Posidonia then, is it?
Yeah. So you have like these rocks here, and the Posidonia is completely surrounding these rocks.
Let's go.
You look like you were enjoying yourself.
Yeah, I was really enjoying it. No, it was really cool. We saw a lot of different things actually. We saw some places where it's clear that the Posidonia has been damaged or is reduced, and there's really not a lot of wildlife there, but as you go a bit further out and you see some of the healthier Posidonia.
The main thing to know about Posidonia is that it's called endemic, so it means it only grows in the Mediterranean Sea. It supports life, so there's at least 50 species of fish that directly depend on the meadow. It's important both for the biodiversity but also for economic reasons, because it provides us with food. It also releases oxygen in the water, which allow fishes to grow even more. It captures carbon, so it means that it also mitigates climate change. It protects the coastlines against erosion by making what we call Posidonia banks on the beaches. So it absorbs the energy of the waves, so during winter storms the beaches are not damaged by the energy of the waves. It also traps sediments, so we can enjoy the clearness of Mediterranean water is because Posidonia captures the sediment and the chemicals in the water. These meadows are under threat by mass touristic activity, and it's under threat because of two main things. The first thing is the yachting activity, because when the yacht plants their anchor in the meadow, and when the anchor is pulled out in the wrong way, they leave scars in the meadow, and these scars take a lifetime, a human lifetime to heal back again, because literally the Posidonia grows by only a few centimeters a year. The second one is the coastal development. Enlarge a marina, when you cast some more concrete on the coastline, actually you completely artificialize the coast, so it's an habitat that's lost forever for biodiversity. And maybe the first thing to think about is that we lose economic value of the meadow, especially for fishermen, because you lose fishing yields, and when you lose a carbon sink, you also lose an asset to fight climate change. This trend is actually accelerating. We lose about the equivalent of a football field every 30 minutes of seagrasses. Here it's because of the touristic activity, but elsewhere it's more about pollutions, industrial, agricultural and urban runoffs and sewage elsewhere on the planet. We need a lot of initiatives to promote meadow conservation. Here, especially in St Tropez, there's a maritime decree that completely forbids for bigger yachts to plant their anchor. So they have to have the authorization to plant their anchor here.
Do you speak French? Okay. So you're in the forbidden area for anchoring.
What we saw is that there's a slowing down in the decline of the Posidonia since this decree was taken. Our DNA within the foundation is to support scientific projects. There are one that we're particularly interested in here. It's the Floating Reef Project. So it basically is an ecological mooring buoy that avoids the yacht and other boats to plant their anchor in the Posidonia. And by doing so, we have the occasion to implement an artificial reef that's installed beneath the mooring buoy, and by putting all these modules together, a surface for a marine life to colonize it. And the idea for it is to protect and restore the ecosystems that could have been lost when the Posidonia is damaged. Usually when you tackle these challenges, it's very difficult to bring different communities to talk about these scientific topics. And we're very, very thankful for the SailGP to give us this opportunity to talk about science. We see that it's in the very core, in the very DNA of this event.
Ocean health is vital to protecting the ecosystem, and educating the next generation is central to that process. Here in St Tropez, Denmark SailGP team's Race for the Future partner, the One Ocean Foundation, is running workshops, organising sea cleans and conducting scientific experiments to instill passion in the next generation of ocean champions.
At One Ocean Foundation, we collaborate with business and science to accelerate solutions towards more sustainable innovation for our oceans. It's so great to link the two worlds of science, One Ocean Foundation, with sports. An ocean science workshop is a really good opportunity to include the new generation in learning more about biodiversity that lives within a drop of our oceans. In fact, we're gonna make them observe some plankton samplings under the microscope.
And then I'm gonna collect the plankton with this. Plankton is divided in two parts, phytoplankton and the zooplankton.
What's so amazing about plankton is that even though it's so small, we can understand so much about the health of the ocean. We really focus on inspiring the younger generation to learn about ocean sustainability. Plastic pollution is one of the biggest threats to our oceans, so it was really nice to get the Danish team and the Australia team to go out and get hands-on and do an ocean cleanup. The thing about plastic is that it degrades in the water and it becomes microplastic. Microplastic has really dangerous effects on both the ecosystem and the biodiversity. When we partner with the Rockwell and Denmark SailGP team, we wanted to link the science world and the sailing world. The way we want to do that is through science experiments on site while traveling through the SailGP calendar. And this is super cool because the athletes are the ones that actually get hands-on and do the experiments. We're going to be able to analyze plankton samples and send them in a lab. Eventually, we will be able to create a map that will show the health of the oceans. Science is in the DNA of One Ocean Foundation. We have a scientific committee that guides us in everything we do. It's really nice that SailGP is introducing new audiences to the scientific world.
So it's clear that education, science and inspiration can ensure that the next generation protects our ocean. And all of these qualities were on display when I spoke to Pugh, UN Patron of the Oceans, on our Rockwell podcast, Into the Depths. Here's a quick preview.
Hi, I'm Pugh, and this is Into the Depths.
If the ocean has a guardian, it's definitely Pugh. The endurance swimmer has braved the most inhospitable waters to draw attention to our most fragile ecosystems. And as the United Nations Patron of the Oceans, Lewis now leads the fight to protect our seas against climate change.
We don't change what we're doing, we're going to destroy our oceans and destroy our planet.
As we visit iconic cities all over the world, we meet some pretty cool and inspiring people, from sporting legends to scientific adventurers and genuine trailblazers of equality. We've got it all. So every SailGP event, I get to know one of them a little bit better, and I hope you will too. I'm John O'Turner, and you're watching Into the Depths. Two very different days of racing here in Saint Tropez, as on day one France's SailGP team set a new speed record of 99.94 kilometres an hour amid high winds. But light airs on day two sadly meant Denmark SailGP team struggled to build on their recent momentum. Jimmy Spithill and his United States SailGP team took the event win, but in the bigger picture the Danish team remains in the championship hunt in 4th place overall. If you missed the racing this weekend and want to go and check out the action, head to sailgp.com/watch. And if you fancy going behind the scenes with the Denmark SailGP team, follow us on social media at SailGPDen. Next up, we return to Cadiz for the Spain Sail Grand Prix. See you next time on Beneath the Surface, presented by Rockwell.